Nisila, thanks a lot for joining us this afternoon. Tell us, as a young person particularly, they say that the future is in your hands, and with climate change and the effects thereof are rife, one wonders what kind of a future that will be.
For me, I think we are at a point where we face with such a bad climate crisis that we have to act now. And with climate change happening, currently we're already seeing effects such as the Western Cape droughts, the KZN floods, and our future as the youth does not seem very bright right now with regards to climate change. Will we even have a future?
I mean, let's talk a little bit about young people and the sentiment around the youth, right? So your peers around issues such as climate change. Are young people receiving the messaging? Do they understand the impact? Do they understand how dire the consequences will be if climate change is not paid particular attention to?
I think a lot of young people do understand, because looking at our march today, a lot of the people who were there were young people. Young people are taking a stand, and the UN will be hosting a youth climate conference, and there are a lot of young people who are participating. However, the problem comes with officials, because as young people, all we can do so far is just take a stand and raise awareness.
I mean, you're saying that officials, so they're not coming to the party in terms of supporting the cause, or do they not understand the fact that actually the responsibility is going to rest on your shoulders if they don't step up?
I think they do understand that they need to come to the core. However, not enough is being done. Yes, we have policies in place, but are those policies being implemented? And as young people, we are more affected by this, because we understand that this is the future that we will be living in. This is the world that we will be living in.
I mean, looking at the fact that this will be the world that you're living in, etc., how does it filter down to education in schools, for example, like that, so that young people are almost conscious of it all the time, that if they don't do something about climate change, then a future for them and their children looks very just rife?
I think specifically with regards to education, I think maybe if it was climate change a syllabus was implemented into the actual syllabus, if more information was given at schools regarding climate change and what people can actively do to reduce their carbon footprint, what they can do at home to ensure that they're not being part of the problem, I think a lot can also help with that.
I must ask you, how old are you?
I am 20 years old.
Okay, so you're 20 years old when many of your peers are wondering and are on about, Instagramming and Twitter, etc., and being on social media and hashtag this and hashtag this is cool. Why is it so important for you to be an advocate of climate change? I mean, many would look at it and say, sure, out of all topics in the world that you can be passionate about, why is it particularly important for you to advocate for climate change?
For me, it's important because I come from a semi-rural community of Jakastad in Mpumalanga. And in my community, a lot of the families there are subsistence farmers, and we can already see the effects of climate change because yields are decreasing, our arable land is decreasing. We can already see the exact impact. So for me, I took it upon myself to take a stand because something needs to be done. A lot of families will go hungry if something is not done. As Africa, as a continent, we are faced with a lot of the problems because we can already see the effects of climate change.
Well, it sounds like, number one, you've mentioned and you'll be able to spot the problem, but I bet you, if I have to ask you, what would you say are the possible solutions? Just because I've got a feeling that you've thought about how then do you start mitigating against this climate change. Tell me, if you had to make the decision, if you were president and I said to you, Sanisile, you are president today, how do we fix this issue around climate change? What would you say?
For me, the biggest thing with regards to climate change mitigation, it would be to find more renewable resources. As South Africa, we are so blessed to have so much sunshine. Why are we not looking into solar energy as the biggest supply of energy for our country? Why are we not looking into other alternative renewable resources? Because I believe that, yes, climate change, yes, we are reliant on coal as a country. However, we're also blessed with sunlight. And further, with climate change adaptation, I believe that a lot of education needs to be done for various citizens so they are made aware of climate change.
So basically, in your opinion, you're saying that looking at Eskom and the problems that we've been having with Eskom, there are alternative solutions.
Yes.
Okay, so when we're looking at that as well, alternative energy resources, recycling, helping people to recycle, where do we start? Tell me that. Where do I start? If I'm listening and I'm watching you right now and thinking, I'm buying into your story 100%, Sandisile, what must I do in my household?
I believe that as individuals, we need to reflect on how are we contributing. You need to look at your carbon footprint, look at whether you are recycling, look at whether you're buying single-use plastic, look at whether the type of, what's your energy source at home, whether you're switching on, you're switching off the lights, whether you are, it's all of these little things that we need to look at as people to ensure that we aren't also part of the problem. Switch off your lights when you're not in a room. Don't use too much water. Ensure that you adapt this conservative mindset, so you're ensuring that you are not being wasteful also.
You've just made my week. I think that you are a beautiful and intelligent and equally capable young woman, and I think that anybody that is watching you right now will listen. Number one, because they completely believe in what you're saying, and number two, because you're raising a very, very pertinent point. I'm so proud of you, and I think that you're just black girl magic, all of it, on a Friday. That is it. Sandi Sile there giving us the latest in terms of that march that took place as the world marches against climate change. Ladies and gentlemen, you've got your president. There she is, Sandi Sile Mkhonza, giving us the latest on that.